Hi friends, it's Lisa Mears here. Thanks for joining me. In this video, I'll be sharing some new products from Scrap Diva Designs March release. This release is full of Easter and spring themed products, and I'll also be making 2 cards. If you're interested in any of the products that you see here today, or if you just want to see the entire release, I will have a link down in the description box below where you can go to find out more information about these products and the new release. In addition, if you do plan on purchasing anything from Scrap Diva Designs, be sure to use my coupon code LisaMears and you'll save 10% off your order. So the first product that I want to share with you is the Tulip Shaker mini album. Now this is designed to make a mini album. You can see there's a piece there for the 3 holes that you can add the mini album rings. However, I'm going to use it to make a shaped card today. And this particular die is the A2 card box add-on set. It's a beautiful frame that has some flowers on it. It was designed to go on the top of a gift box for a set of cards, but I'm going to use it for an actual card in my video today. And Scrap Diva Designs does sell the A2 gift box die set, and I will have that linked below in case you're interested in that. And this die set is the butterfly set. There are 4 butterflies all together, and you can even use them to make layered butterflies. And last but not least is the Easter Words 1 die set. There are words in here that say Happy Easter, chocolate, spring, candy, egg hunt, and garden. So I'm going to start out making a tulip-shaped card, and I'm using this flower paper. This is a piece of paper from a Spellbinders card kit when they used to have their card kits. And I want to let you know that if you do plan on using this die to make a card, the largest die is bigger than A2 in size. So the total height of the tulip is about 6.5 inches tall by about 4 3/8 inches wide. So if you do plan on using this for a card, you will need a larger envelope. So I am using the second largest die. This is the one with the stitching all around the tulip, and I die cut the floral paper, but I want you to notice that it did cut the stem off, but that's okay because I am going to be creating the stem with a different color cardstock. Now, if you just want to use one piece of pattern paper or cardstock to cut that die, you'd have to use something larger than 6 by 6 inches. Since my paper was only 6 by 6 inches, I am going to create the stem in this green color, and this is from the Jolly paper pad from scrapbook.com. I'm just cutting a portion out just that will cover the bottom of the tulip shape, and I'm going to die cut this. So I'll put some mint tape on the die to hold it down to the cardstock, and I'll run this through my die cutting machine. Next, I'm going to take the smallest die and I'm going to die cut this piece of pink Pastel Glossy cardstock. I love this cardstock. It's so shiny and thick. This die will die cut the outline of the tulip. It also cuts the inside out, which I'm not going to use the inside. I'm just going to use the outline because I will be turning this into a shaker. Next, I'm going to take that piece of green cardstock that I cut the stem from, and I'm just going to layer it underneath the frame tulip shape, and I'm going to cut around it just so that it fills the entire opening of the stem when it's placed underneath that frame. So I'm just cutting off the parts that I don't need. So you can see that's going to be layered underneath, and you can see it has that stitching on it. And then I'm going to just take that green piece and glue it to the bottom of the floral pattern paper that I cut with the stitched die. So I just pieced 2 pieces of paper together to form that second layer. And again, if you don't want to do this, you can just die cut that stitched layer with 1 piece of cardstock or pattern paper, and you'll just have to make sure you use a larger piece of paper to do so. But I really like it the way that it looks with the green stem and the floral print on top. So now I'm going to take the frame and I put glue on the back and I'm attaching it to a piece of acetate because this is going to be a shaker. Now you don't have to make this a shaker. You can just attach the frame directly to the stitched tulip shape if you wanted to, but I want to go ahead and make it a shaker and show you how that's done. So after attaching the frame to the acetate, I'm just using my scissors to trim around that tulip frame to cut off all of the excess acetate. Next, I'm going to turn that piece over and I'm going to take some thin foam strips and I'm going to put foam all around the edges of that frame. And I really like using these scrapbook.com foam strips because they easily bend into the shape that you need them, and they are thin enough to go on the back side of this frame. So now I've added all of the foam to the back side of the tulip frame. When you do this, you want to make sure all of that foam is connected because you don't want to have any shaker pieces falling between any holes or gaps in the foam. To make it easier for me to add the shaker pieces and then add the cover on top, I just die cut a piece of white cardstock from that same stitched tulip frame that I'm layering underneath the frame of the tulip. I do have the frame of the tulip so that the back side where the foam is showing is on top, and I'm adding some shaker beads to each of the sections of that tulip. The shaker beads that I'm using are the Pretty Pink Posh Sweet Dreams shaker beads. I thought that these went very well with the colors of the pattern paper. Another tip is to make sure that the back side of the adhesive foam is already removed before adding the shaker beads, and try not to get any of the beads stuck to the adhesive because then it will be hard to add the piece with the pattern paper. And you can see I just flipped that piece over and added it to the back side of the adhesive. I basically just lined it up with that white cardstock tulip shape, and that's what that was intended to do, is to be able to line up that pattern paper tulip shape with the white paper to make sure that I got that lined up in the exact spot where I needed it to be lined up. Next, I took the largest tulip die. Notice that this piece has the 3 holes for your album rings if you are using this for a mini album. I'm just going to cut that off because I don't need that for my shaped card. And you can see that there's a little line in the curve of the tulip, and I'm just going to use my scissors and follow along that line to cut off that piece from the cardstock because, as I said, I'm not going to need that for my shaped card. Next, I'm going to add my tulip, that is the shaker piece, right on top of the white layering piece. And now I'm ready to create my card base. So I'm taking a piece of 8.5 by 11 inch piece of white cardstock, folding it in half, and then I'm going to take the largest die and put it so that it's slightly over the fold in the cardstock on the left side of the die. I'm going to tape this down to the cardstock with some mint tape and run this through my die cutting machine. And when that comes out of the die cutting machine, it gives you the card base. So now I'm just going to add glue to the top of the card base, and I'll add the tulip shape right to the top. Just line it up with the card base, and now you have your shaped card. There are a few points there in the card base that I can just snip off just in the shape of the tulip. Now you can totally stop here, but I'm going to move on and decorate this with some of the butterflies from the butterfly set. And I'm using the 2 smallest butterflies, and I'm going to layer them together. I have a piece of the teal cardstock from the sherbet paper pad from scrapbook.com. That's the largest of the 2 butterflies that I'm using, and then I just have a piece of white cardstock that I die cut with this smaller butterfly. And then for the center of the butterfly, I use some gold mare cardstock from scrapbook.com. So for the white butterfly, I'm snipping off the antenna. I won't need that in the white cardstock because I am going to add the gold on top. So I'm going to start by layering the white butterfly on top of the teal butterfly. I'm just adding some glue in the center of the white butterfly and adding that center to the teal butterfly. I didn't glue down the wings because I want those wings to pop up. And then I'm going to add the gold center. So I'll just put glue on the back of the body and the antenna, and then I'm going to line that up with the layered butterfly. And I think that looks so pretty. You can actually layer up all 4 of these butterflies if you wanted to create a larger one, but I chose to use just the 2 smaller ones because I thought that fit perfectly on this tulip. Okay, so for the sentiment, I'm using the Happy Easter from the Easter Words 1 set. I die cut the words out of white cardstock and gold cardstock, and I'm going to layer the gold cardstock behind the white layer. And when I layer it up, I'm actually offsetting it a little bit so that you can see the gold cardstock slightly to the left of the white cardstock. So I'm just moving the white cardstock slightly to the right to offset it so you can see the gold underneath on the left side. I thought that gold adds a nice touch and brings out the gold in the butterfly. So here I'm going to go ahead and add my butterfly to my tulip card. I'm going to put it there at the bottom right corner. And then I'm going to add the Happy Easter right to the center of the tulip. And now that card is complete. I think this turned out so pretty, and you can really change it up depending on what colors you use and what color pattern papers you use. And again, this can be a regular card and not a shaker, so there's lots of possibilities there. So this next die is the A2 Card Box Add-on die set. And as I mentioned earlier, I do want to let you know that this die is not A2 in size. Although it has A2 in the name, it's not 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. It actually measures 5 7/8 inches by 4 5/8 inches. And the reason why it's a little bit larger is because it's actually meant for the top of the A2 gift box die set. So if you are gifting cards or selling card packs, that's what that die set would be used for, and this is for the top of it. But I am turning it into a card. You would just need a larger envelope. So here I'm measuring it just so that you can see the width and the height of that die. It is slightly larger, as I said, 5 7/8 by 4 5/8 inches. But it's so beautiful, and I love all of that floral detail and the stitch detail. I die cut the die with this piece of pink cardstock, and then I'm just going to put glue on the back, and I'm going to add it to this piece of pattern paper. The piece of pattern paper is from a previous Spellbinders card kit. I thought that butterfly and floral print was really pretty, and I chose a pink color for the frame that matched closely to the pink in the pattern paper. So I'm just going to line that frame up with the top left edge of the pattern paper. Press that down really well, and then you can either use your paper trimmer or a pair of scissors, and you can trim off any excess pattern paper. And since this doesn't go on a standard A2 size card base, I've taken a 5 by 7 card base, and I'm just going to put glue on the back of my card layer and then add it to the 5 by 7 card base, lining it up in the top left-hand corner of the card base, and then just using my scissors, or again, you can use a paper trimmer to trim off any excess of the card base. And now you have a completed card, but I'm going to go ahead and add some embellishments here. I went ahead and created some more of those butterflies using some lavender cardstock and white cardstock. I also added some gray cardstock to those butterflies, and I'm using the Happy Easter sentiment again. using the colors gray for the shadow of the Happy Easter sentiment and the lavender color for the words. I was choosing colors that bring out that pattern paper, and since lavender is a color in that pattern paper, I thought bringing out that would be really pretty. So adding the Happy Easter sentiment to the middle. And again, these don't have to be Easter cards. These could be just regular spring cards, birthday cards. They don't have to necessarily be Easter. I just chose that Happy Easter sentiment because that was what was included in the Easter words. So now I want to fill in all of the centers of those flowers, and I'm bringing in my scrapbook.com white pops of color, and I'm adding some of the pops of color inside the centers of those flowers. The pops of color is a liquid embellishment, and it does need to dry flat, and once dry it will dry hard, and it just adds that dimension to your card. So I encourage you to check out the entire spring release for Scrap Diva Designs. Check the link in the description box below. And I hope you liked my cards and this video. If you did like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you like videos like this and want to see more, be sure to click that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.